Hello there. Now I'm just a simple man, and my name is Noah Foster. Welcome to a brand new series I'll be starting on a week by week basis called 205 Live Matters. For those of you who don't know, I am a lifelong fan of wrestling, but I've come to really enjoy wrestlers that put in not only the perspective of a character with charisma, but a strong work ethic. 205 Live is still relatively the newest brand on the WWE banner. I watch every brand every week on time. Now that 205 Live is on Tuesday nights live at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and people have suggested, because of my dedication to the show, they suggested that I do a little bit of review for it. So here's my first attempt in reviewing the first episode of 205 Live for this series that I call 205 Live Matters. So let's talk about tonight's show, shall we? So, of course, for those of you who don't know, 205 Live has a pretty standard basis for an opening. It starts with the general manager, Drake Maverick, the former rock star Spud of TNA, Impact Wrestling, whatever you want to call that. He is the general manager of 205 Live, a brand that is dedicated to bringing you the fastest, most exciting hour of action on television. But it's not really an hour, it's like 45, 50 minutes, so there's that. Anyway, so he talks about the upcoming match for the Royal Rumble. He talks about the matches for the night, and he promos them. Basically, 205 Live usually gives you 2 to 3 matches at most. I can't remember the last time I saw 4, let alone 1 take the whole show. But anyway, 205 Live is going to be highlighted at the Royal Rumble. It's sad to me that sometimes 205 Live is just literally slashed to the kickoff show only. But I believe it's worth more than that, in my opinion. I truly do. If you've seen the matches lately that they brought up in Survivor Series, for example, you would agree as well. Anyway, so this show basically begins with, after the high package, we get the Fiend, we get the opening, we get the announcers. It's usually 3 announcers, but it was 2 tonight. I miss Nigel McGuinness. I think he actually is the best one for 205 Live. But Vic Joseph, Percy Watson, they do okay. I mean, everyone's got more personality than Michael Cole, so there's that. Anyway, so we got our first match tonight, and this was between a member of the Lucha House Party, Lince Dorado, versus the man of the hour, Lio Rush. You might know him better as the hype man for Lash Lane, Lash Lane, Lash Lane. But actually, he's a very serious in-ring competitor that shows off a lot of his talent and athleticism on 205 Live, thankfully. He also has a bunch of matches on YouTube. If y'all haven't checked some of his indie work, I highly suggest you do. For all these athletes that we'll talk about tonight, and on the roster in general. So, tonight we had Lince Dorado versus Lio Rush. This was based on previous history where the both men were involved, well, not necessarily one-on-one, but they were involved in a match. Lio Rush was involved in a match for Kalisto to qualify for the Royal Rumble Fatal 4-Way for the Cruiserweight title. Really, that's a mouthful. Anyway, he basically blames the Lucha House Party for his loss. He claims that Kalisto could never beat him one-on-one, and all the noisemakers and all the nonsense from the Lucha House Party caused him to lose. So tonight, he came out for vengeance to try and take out Lince Dorado. He basically cut a promo saying, I didn't come here to party, I came here to win. He really basically flipped a switch with his personality tonight, when you think about it, if you saw it. He basically was much more serious. He wants to go for the title. He's here to win. And basically, he has his catchphrase, he ends his promo, feel the rush. Which then brings out the Lucha House Party. That's all about fun, all about those crazy noisemakers. Someone tell me in the comments what they're called. I don't remember. And basically, he says, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the problem. And I think also Lince Dorado for sure at him. So apparently, this led to the Lucha House Party leaving the ring before the match even started. And it really became a one-on-one match between Lince Dorado and Lio Rush. Excuse me. Anyway. So we had a pretty good back-and-forth match here. This is basically what you can expect at minimum from 205 Live. There was a lot of good spots here. Of course, Lio being the heel, as soon as Lucha House Party was gone, what happened? Pre-match attack. He gains the advantage basically by tagging him before the bell even rings, which doesn't normally happen a lot on 205 Live, but he was out to prove a point. He was angry. He was bitter. I kind of understood why he did it. So, let's look at some of the spots here. We basically get a lot of what you expect from the Lucha style. We get a lot of like moonsaults, some slaps, some top rope maneuvers. It was an okay match. A couple highlights for me was definitely that springboard moonsault that went into a rest lock. There was a lot of rest locks in this match. I feel like that was probably the downfall to this, if nothing else. Multiple covers after like submissions. There was rest locks turn into submissions, trying to turn to a cover. At one point, Leo Rush was getting a little cocky. He was like, "You can't beat me, you can't beat me." He slapped Lince Dorado. This caused Lince to fire up. So, you get your usual hype moment there where the face tries to get control for a little bit, crowds behind him, and the heel takes over. There was a jawbreaker spot that led into a drop kick. There was a bunch of like combination moves, as if you were playing Mortal Kombat, for example, trying to change moves together. Good game, by the way, if you haven't played it. And that led into, at one point, Leo Rush countering Lince Dorado's move into what looked like, I think, like a corkscrew kick to the back of the head, which led to another near fall. It didn't do the job, though. We had high cross bodies through it. There was some suicide dives. Lince Dorado was definitely here to hurt Leo Rush and prove a point. At one point, he went for not one, not two, three. Count them. 3 moonsaults off the top rope. Hit all 3 of them. It surprised me that Leo Rush didn't roll out of the way or use his knees or counter the third one. That just seemed kind of odd to me. So there's that. And it basically led to a near fall. Keyword near fall. Match wasn't over. So after that, we basically got an exchange back and forth of them trying to get the best of each other. They were trying to both like set up their finishers. For those of you who don't know Lince Dorado, he kind of does a little bit of a kill switch variation called the Golden Rewind. A couple of times Leo counted it in the match, but eventually Lince Dorado hit it. But here's the thing. Shout out to Jeff Meacham, by the way. Great person. Wrestling Trivia Challenge for that, I respect. That was not the end. Finishers don't necessarily indicate that's the end of the match always in 205 Live, depending on how the story is set up. Since both of these men were out to prove a point, I figured this wasn't going to be it. I can't remember the last time Lince Dorado won with his Golden Rewind. But then again, who really wins off of a finisher anymore that's not on Raw or SmackDown or named Roman Reigns and has a spear? Just saying. Anyway, that led to a near fall, but that wasn't enough. Eventually, they went to the top rope, and there was a nasty, brutal, but inventional top rope leg drop by Lince Dorado on Leo Rush. Leo Rush is a glutton for punishment. Good seller, though. I respect the young man. And eventually, we had some apron spots where the heel took advantage by driving the face into what else? The post. So, of course, after that, this set up Leo Rush to do his finisher, which is basically a top rope, I guess you could say frog splash, really, but they call it the final hour, and that gave Leo the win. So you think Leo Rush proved his point. He was cocky. The announcers were putting it over. Nope. What happens after that? Leo Rush, he goes outside the ring after seeing Lince Dorado start walking off and just ground and pound attacks him before the rest of the Lucha House Party, Kalisto and Grand Metalik, run Leo Rush off into the crowd where Leo was smiling in his cocky demeanor the whole time. Chances are after this, we're going to see Leo Rush versus Grand Metalik at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if it was next week because we have the Royal Rumble coming up and Kalisto, he's already booked for the Royal Rumble match. So chances are we're not going to see Kalisto versus Leo Rush till after Royal Rumble, but I could see this being the combination of this storyline. Because again, 205 Live likes to combine faction versus single person or faction versus faction storylines in about 3 to 4 weeks basis, if you follow the series. I thought this was a good opening match. I feel like I can see where this is going next. I like the fact that we're seeing Leo for what he truly is, a serious in-ring competitor, but he still shows that cocky nature because, he's the man of the hour. But it's always a refresher from what we get on Raw. Because the best thing you get is him as a hype man, and I don't want to simply see him as a hype man. I mean, we'll see what happens between him and Lashley and how that all plays out. I guess that's working for now, but hopefully he becomes more dynamic on the main roster like he is on 205 Live, but we'll see. And following that, we get a backstage interview with Noam Dar. For those of you who don't know Noam Dar, he is known as the Supernova, Scottish Supernova. He's a active member of the NXT UK roster. And he has had some great matches. He's also been involved, though, in some mainstream matches as well on Monday Night Raw storylines. For those of you who want to go check back on those, he had an affair with Alicia Fox and Cedric Alexander. There was a weird love triangle there. There was slapping. There was cell phone calling. It was really stupid. It was Vince driven. It was really dumb. But for those of you that are into that type of stuff, because everyone has their own taste and flavor, go back and look that up on the WWE Network. Just look up Noam Dar and Alicia Fox, and that is literally how he said it, which is probably the most memorable thing and why Vince pushed it. Because I read something that I guess Vince liked when Noam Dar said Alicia Fox in his accent. But one of the more memorable matches Noam Dar had was definitely against Cedric Alexander in that Quit match. If you haven't looked at that, go check that out. Great match from the early episodes of 205 Live. By the way, this series, it's just over only 100 years old, so you really can binge this probably within a week. Anyway, sorry about that, going off topic. He basically has a backstage interview based on what happened last week. He basically said, okay, I beat Nese. Now I can move on. But who comes into play? Tony Nese. He basically says, whoa. Every dog has his day. 99 out of 100. You got lucky. I could have you beat. But every time Tony Nese was trying to drive the point to another match, I'm the better athlete, I'm the premier athlete, what does Noam Dar say? But you lost. But you lost. But you lost. So basically, Noam Dar, he's basically saying, I'm over you, Tony Nese. But Tony Nese is saying that one-on-one, he wants a rubber match. Chances are we're going to get a rubber match because most of 205 Live storylines end in a very unique rubber match scenario. Even though Noam Dar says, you know what, it's a good idea. I need someone to prove and push me. But you lost. So chances are we're going to get this match. Wouldn't surprise me if Noam Dar does face somebody else and then Tony Nese interferes and then it's set up, or Tony Nese just attacks him out of the blue before a Noam Dar match even starts. There's no doubt in my mind this is going to end in another one-on-one encounter. And I'm looking forward to when that happens. Because Tony Nese, very impressive. For those of you that watch NXT, you saw him firsthand when he took on Johnny Wrestling in an incredible bout. What I love about the NXT brands and the 205 Live brands, they really interchange and work together a lot. So if you like NXT and you like NXT UK and you're expecting the same great action, trust me, 205 Live will not disappoint you. It's a little different. There's only one title and it's a smaller roster, but you can expect at least 2 great matches a night. And that's a fact. Simple as that. So afterwards, we get another segment backstage, but this time in the general manager's office with the general manager, Drake Maverick, and the first ever Cruiserweight champion and winner of the Cruiserweight Classic, the ever so pompous, cocky Cruiser Great, TJP. TJP basically comes in here, there's a little bit of, I guess, light humor during the promo, like, I can see you're upset that you're not in the open challenge. And then also, Drake Maverick talks about having a ref check on Lindsay Dorado in the trainer's room, and TJP comes in with a joke about, I had a bad cold, you never checked me in the trainer's room. Drake says, I never had to. But anyway, that wasn't the point of this. The point of this was TJP trying to prove a point once again that he's the best, but he's being overlooked because he's not in the open challenge. And as Drake Maverick was telling him that someone debuting tonight is booked for that open challenge, and he has high promises for him, as TJP walked off, Drake says, if there's any opportunities, you'll be the first to know. So chances are, TJP, he's going to remain salty. It wouldn't surprise me if they set him up with the new guy in a one-on-one encounter since the whole Mike Kanellis TJP partnership and rivalry with Lucha House Party is finally over. So I'm not going to be surprised to see TJP face what we have coming up. But not before we hype the Fatal 4 for the Royal Rumble by having little, I guess you could say, promos from each competitor hyping about why they're in this, why they'll win. So first off, we have Kalisto. Kalisto talking about Lucha Libre is my tradition, and I like to have fun with my mates, but I take this very seriously, and I'm dedicated to my art, and that will push me to once again be the Cruiserweight champion. Will Kalisto win it? Stay tuned for Royal Rumble predictions, where I will go more in depth on this match especially. Following that, you get the Brian Kendrick and Akira Tozawa. Ha! Basically, Akira didn't say anything. I think he said something at the end, but I didn't quite get it out. I didn't understood it fully. Uh, Basically, Lee Brian Kendrick says, I have taught him every dirty trick, every dirty play in the book to make sure that he breaks his opponent's will, and that will push him to become, once again, the cruiserweight champion. Then, following that, we got Hideo Itami. But Hideo didn't speak at all. His hype man, the man, and apparently the only man that respects him, Arya Davari, spoke on his behalf. Basically says that all the competitors are hungry for gold. All the competitors are hungry for gold. But Hideo Itami has yet to taste gold. So that hunger for gold has not been fed. All Hideo sees is just victims. He just sees food. And to Hideo's opponents, Davari says that they shouldn't be worried about the title, but their physical well-being, as Hideo will do anything for it. And in the end, Davari says, in front of 50,000 people, you will witness the beginning of the Itami era. This would be really nice if Itami won this, but again, I don't have a clear-cut pick. I'll talk more about that in the World Run predictions when the No DQ Predictions League officially starts up, and I will be taking part in that this year. Coming out to your titles, Caitlin. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how this match goes. I truly hope it doesn't be on the kickoff show because, again, in my opinion, 205 Live matters. But knowing it's a Vince-driven product, it wouldn't surprise me. What a freaking waste. Especially since Mixed Match Challenge isn't a thing anymore. But maybe that's a good thing. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how this match plays out. I feel like we might see something we're not expecting. But again, I'll go on that later. Which then leads us after, you get your standard vid packages for the Royal Rumble. You get your standard subliminal promoting, blah, blah, blah. You get one heck of a main event. 205 Live has constantly, and I mean this sincerely, constantly delivered on main events ever since Triple H has driven the direction more with the product. Starting, of course, with hiring General Manager Drake Maverick. Now, I'm just going to say this for the record, too, despite what people may think. Triple H is one of the best things, if not the best thing, going for WWE today. And that's all I have to say about that. Simple as that. You all can interpret that yourself however you want. So, the main event. Buddy Murphy's Open Challenge. Buddy Murphy literally doing this to prove that he is the greatest cruiserweight of all time. Not just champion, but the greatest cruiserweight of all time. So, of course, the champ comes out first. Which still seems weird to me, but I digress. Anyway, it's not for the title, so maybe in this case it doesn't matter. The champ comes out first. So, Buddy Murphy comes out, and he tells everybody to shut up, I got something to say. And he's basically bragging about how he is the greatest cruiserweight of all time. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Followers of 205 Live, let me know. Leave a comment. Share your thoughts. Anyway, he talks about how this Royal Rumble match and next week's match, he hypes both those up. He basically says how 3 of the best cruiserweights will go out there next week and prove who's the best among themselves. But he still rates down below him. By the way, next week, triple threat match. Hideo Itami versus Akira Tozawa versus Kalisto. That should be quite an interesting match to look at. So be sure to watch. But anyway, they don't want me. They can't stop the unstoppable. So let's see who can come out and try. And that's basically what Buddy Murphy said. Oh, he also said don't want me because, as you know, the audience, we live in nostalgia ages. People love their what chants and try to make a what chant when they can. Whether it's Asuka, whether it's Roman, or I guess now Buddy Murphy. Who else starts a what chant anymore? Alexa Bliss? But anyway, what chants are fun when they work. I feel like it was necessary here. But I'm not going to lie. I did chuckle when he said, don't what me. That'd be like someone wanting me. But I've never been whatever before. Nor would I want to be. That just seems like an awkward moment. Anyway. So, we finally find out who the new person is. Who's this person debuting on 205 Live that Drake Maverick has high expectations for? And it was interesting. Let me see if I can say this name right. Humberto Carrillo, I think is how you say it. But anyway, so this guy, he is been trained by his uncle Hedrick Garza that they brought up, which I thought was very interesting. But also, I believe he's the tag team partner for Raul Mendoza down NXT. because I know he was a recent signing for the NXT product, and I'm pretty sure he was involved in that match between what are the names? Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. But anyway, it looks like he's now on 205 Live, so good for him. And my word, what an impressive showing. Buddy Murphy, of course, not taking him really seriously, but there seemed to be a bit of respect there in the beginning, as they both did handshake. But of course, Buddy being the arrogant, cocky champ, what do you expect? So of course, we start this out with a little bit of exchange. There's some work on the arm and stuff like that. And then after that, there was really a fight for control. There were multiple testing periods, I guess you could say, where you really see who could gain control in this match. And it was something else, okay? I mean, a lot of kicks, a lot of attempted kicks, actually. There's a bunch of dodges and roll throughs, and then we get like a side lock. But then Buddy really shows off his strength when literally Humberto runs into like a brick wall, basically, and just drops to the floor. We get another exchange following that, and Buddy then, after that exchange, because it looked like, oh, this kid actually can keep up with me. He almost took my head off. He's literally sitting in the corner with kind of a surprised expression that not only surprised Buddy, but surprised the crowd as well. The crowd started getting into this. There was a little bit of applause. They liked what they saw. And then after that, we got a few arm drags. Some very nice deep arm drags, I might add. There was a moonsault to a roll through. But then after that, Buddy Murphy gained control outside the ring, slamming the guy's head against the diamond steel plate at the ramp. So, of course, as you would expect in these type of matches, the heel gained control for a while. We get a rest hold because, the commentators had to put this over, kill time, blah, blah, blah. And he tries to keep him grounded, which led to a cover. I think that was like the first cover of the match. After that, we get Hurricane Rana from... I gotta remember this name, I'm sorry. Hurricane Rana from Humberto. And basically, he goes for a high-risk move, and it's crash and burn. Buddy regains control, we get another cover, nope. And then at one point, there was like a face-first post spot. There was a backdrop on the apron of the post. That was really a real turning point of that match because Buddy Murphy hit hard. By the way, did you guys know that the apron is the hardest part of the ring, braced by steel and wood? I'm so doggone tired of hearing that. God. But anyway. Yeah, after that, we get a beautiful high cross body into a cover. There were so many great covers in this match that the announcers were even selling over. But let's be honest here. You're not going to have the champ lose before the Royal Rumble as you're hyping the pay-per-view, all right? But you're bringing this kid in. You really want to put him as valuable contender to the title on the roster. Because, again, this is the only title. I think he achieved that. It was an incredible showing. And then basically after that, we get like an attempted kick into the corner after Humberto tries to go for high-risk maneuver where, he pulls his head in between like his legs and stuff and Buddy tries to kick him. No, Humberto actually kicks him into the face, and then we get an insane missile drop kick to the back of the head on Buddy Murphy, which led to another near fall. Nope. And then following that, Buddy regains control. We get a big boot kick. He lands on his feet, gets planted though, and then Buddy with one of his signatures, a roll through power bomb into another near fall. You could tell how frustrated Buddy was getting in this match. This guy took Buddy pretty darn far, I thought. I was not expecting this. I was looking at the clock like, usually that's 10:45. No, we're still going, and it looks like we're still going strong, and we were. But then, following that, we get kind of a battle for German suplex control. Kind of similar to Tyler Breeze versus Ricochet in that open challenge back on NXT. I think this one went about that many times too, like 7 or odd times. But anyway, following this, it looked like Humberto gained control, but Buddy just, he escaped it, landed on his feet, and it looked like here that he tweaked his knee. Like he had sustained an injury. And they were selling this for a few minutes, even to the point when the ref was coming in. Humberto didn't know what to do because, he's like, okay, I got to make a name for myself, but also he's the champ. I need to respect that. He might be injured. I need to respect my opponent because that's how Humberto kind of works. And it looked like for a while that, this match was going to end as a no contest. But Carrillo, he shows us back. He applauds the man as he was about to go out. No, it was totally fake. What you expect from a heel, especially a heel champion. But it did not work in Buddy's favor as Carrillo catches him into another near fall. And then after that, for a while, we got a few power strikes. You could tell Carrillo was getting really fired up. And then it really picked up when you got a suicide dive straight to Buddy Murphy. One of the fastest dives I've seen in my memory. Most aggressive, definitely. Whether Buddy was under or he was really coming that fast and had that much form momentum. It just flies Buddy Murphy over the announcer's table. And Carrillo's just getting fired up again. He literally puts Buddy into the ring, goes for a top rope move. He went for many top rope maneuvers. There was a lot of like moonsaults. There was a lot of cross bodies. I guess that's kind of his forte. But we'll see where he goes from here. Moonsaults, cross bodies, kicks. Good combination. Anyway, he goes for a high-risk move and eats a knee from Buddy Murphy. Absolutely just decks him in the face. Which, of course, finally led to what I believe no one's kicked out of yet, Murphy's Law for the win. But in the end, I think he had a very impressive showing. The commentators put him over, and it seemed like Buddy even gained a little bit of respect for the kid for putting him through the ringer, I guess you could say. Because there's multiple look-backs and nods as the champ left. And they also focused a lot on the high spots for Humberto during the replay package. So I thought it was a pretty good show overall, once again tonight. I mean, again, sometimes it just seems weird. You're looking at 2 matches, interview, promo, recap, promo, done. But there was a lot within this 50 minutes. Again, I thought it was a pretty good show. And Kick out, I think, a good first comeuppance. The nod from Buddy, respect from the champ. You went toe-to-toe with the champ. You showed the crowd what you were made of. You gained a lot of experience. I don't really have a rating system, but I think if I was to rate this, it'd probably be a decent 4-star match. I mean, it's not like it went, like your Dave Meltzer rated 5-star match. But again, you get a lot of great, consistent main events from 205 Live. And whether you know the brand or just checked out the brand or even checking out this video, just seeing this guy really talk about it to the best of his knowledge for the first time ever, that's totally up to you. I think 205 matters, and I enjoy it. So I enjoyed the show tonight, and the main event for me was 4 stars. So I'm looking forward to next week. We know we got the triple threat between the other 3 members of the Royal Rumble Fatal 4-Way, Kalisto, Akira Tozawa, and Dale Tommy. It'll be interesting to see who wins that. If I were to pick one right now, let's see. I feel like because he hasn't been champ at all, he could use the momentum. I feel like Daivari is going to be a biggest factor in this match. I'm going to go with Hideo picking up the win here, especially after the tremendous win he had against Cedric Alexander. It'll also be interesting to see where Cedric Alexander goes from here, because we didn't see nothing about him tonight. Nothing. So, next week should be interesting. I'm going to guess that the opening match will probably be Lio Rush versus Grand Metalik. I hope not, but it wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, that's all I have to say tonight. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this new series I'm starting called 205 Live Matters, where I will be giving a simple analysis and my thoughts on the Cruiserweight division, Cruiserweight wrestling, and just the brand in general. Because again, I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. And I enjoy the show and watch all the brands under the WWE banner every week, along with other wrestling as well, including indie wrestling, including my hometown. Because wrestling is for everybody, and I support all wrestling. Simple as that. So with that, thank you for listening. My name is Noah Foster. If you want to follow me, talk about the Cruiserweight division, Cruiserweight wrestling, or any sort of wrestling for that matter, look me up on Twitter, nodq.com/Noah. From this channel, you will receive monthly pay-per-view predictions. WWE mostly, but I will span out and maybe do some Ring of Honor and Impact. I really haven't decided yet. Stay tuned, of course, also for NoDQ.com. They're a big factor in why I do this, and they deliver you all the content you need under the WWE banner, pretty much, outside 205 Live. So maybe this will become their 205 Live thing. I haven't really decided. But support NoDQ.com, support Pro Wrestling Tees, support your wrestling outlets, both big and small, and let's keep growing this wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that, thank you for listening. I will see you all next week after 205 Live. And with that, have a good night. Like, share, and subscribe, and comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Goodbye.